my fellow boogeymen, scream queens, final girls, and everything in between. It is I, Nathan, back again with another Michael Myers cosplay video. I'm very excited to talk about today's subject because, as you can see, we are going to be discussing the newly released Trick or Treat Studios Rob Zombie's Halloween Scarred Mask, along with the knife. This knife is one of 2 variants you can get, and this mask is one of 4 variants you can get. And we will talk about all 4 of them, though I only have the one. Before we get fully into this video, yes, there is a plastic bag here, and I will talk about what's underneath it in a second. But firstly, this video is going to be a very mixed bag in the fact that I think the people who really love Trick or Treat Studios and their work, specifically with Michael Myers masks, are going to really like what I have to say about this mask, and the people who hate Trick or Treat Studios and their works, specifically with Michael Myers masks, are going to love what I have to say about this mask. Because again, it's a very mixed bag. There's mixed emotions with this. Because, in all honesty, this was a nostalgic buy. I grew up in the early 2000s, and I remember very vividly when Rob Zombie's Halloween was announced and all the trailers came out. I saw it on August 31st, 2007. I still have my movie ticket. Like, that's how much the movie meant to me. Was I knew of Michael Myers, I knew of the character. I remember seeing trailers for like H2O and Resurrection, but Rob Zombie's Halloween was the first film I actually went to go see in theaters as a fan. So this film and this mask has a nostalgic place in my heart, though it's not my favorite in the series anymore. It's actually kind of gone down as the years have passed. So yeah, this is much more of a nostalgic buy than, oh, this is, you know, one of my favorite versions of Michael. I do like this mask and the design around it, but the film that it comes from is not my favorite much anymore. But I'm still very excited to talk about this, as this mask is one that I've been after ever since 2007. It's a very wonderfully done mask. I like the scarred concept, and I like how it was kind of revisited with the Blumhouse trilogy, though I feel the Blumhouse Myers masks in the terms of the dry rot is much more effective. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this. And then, yes, I know, there is a weird plastic bag here. What's underneath the plastic bag? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is a Fun World Rob Zombie's Halloween Michael Myers mask. We are actually going to be doing a comparison in this video. And I understand there are a lot of you who are going to be saying comparing these two is like comparing apples and oranges. There's no comparison. And while that is very true, this was one of the only officially licensed Rob Zombie masks you could get on the market that wasn't some $300 replica by a very reputable maker. This was it. From 2007 to up until now with this, I don't know if this is true, but this might be a rare commodity now, seeing as how Trick or Treat Studios has the licensing rights to Rob Zombie's Halloween. But I still wanted to talk about this because this was the mask for the longest time. This was the only way you could get a Rob Zombie Michael Myers mask and knife. We will also be talking about this. So I think it would just be fun to compare what we had back in the day to what you can get now, because being a collector now, you're kind of spoiled for options. As I said, we're going to be going over the variations of this one mask in this video. So without further ado, I think it's about time we jump into the video.
Is the boogeyman real? Why are you so obsessed with the boogeyman, Tommy? Well, I hear things at school.
Like what?
Well, I heard that on Halloween night, the boogeyman sneaks out and attacks kids who don't believe.
Once again, I understand that comparing these two masks is comparing apples to oranges, but as I said at the start, you know, this guy was the only one we could get for the longest time. Quite honestly, being a cosplayer now, I'm just throwing this out here, being a cosplayer now is a whole lot easier than when I was first starting in 2008, 2009, in the fact that you can usually go to one website and pick up an entire costume. When I was doing it, you had to go to multiple places. Sometimes you had to go to physical stores to find costume pieces. And yeah, we had to deal with this crap because, you know, you were on a limited budget, your parents' budget. because your parents bought your stuff when you were starting to do cosplay. Now you have big kid money and you can buy fun stuff like this. But again, the fact that so many cosplayers can start out with something like this now both makes me happy and makes me angry. In all seriousness, though, it is really incredible to see how far we've come in the terms of officially licensed materials, like the Fun World to Trick or Treat Studios. And one of the first things that is very apparent when you compare these two masks is the paint job. The Fun World has this sort of grayish off-white, as to where the Rob Zombie Trick or Treat mask has this sort of whitish skin tone color, and it's not my favorite thing about the mask, because for those who know the Rob Zombie mask, it should be a little bit closer to this color. So weirdly, Fun World has a positive in that, in the fact that it's closer to the actual color. And I know the detractors of Trick or Treat are already typing in the comments, well, that's what you get for buying from Trick or Treat, because their product pictures are never the same as what they actually sell. Yeah, I get that. I understand that you hate this company because they're not selling $300 to $500 masks for $70. But Sings with Nick made a really great point in the fact that he said Trick or Treat Studios sells some of the best cheap blanks on the market. They come with a paint job, but you can easily strip them so that you can have a better product. And I still feel like that is very true, because I have seen rehauled Trick or Treat Studios masks that are just chef's kiss. They look really fantastic. And that is very much the case for the Rob Zombie mask. I have seen what is being deemed overhauls, not rehauls, overhauls, because there are a lot of things on this mask that just aren't doing it, Chief, like the paint job. And the fact that the neck isn't jagged. Trick or Treat Studios talks about how they're using the film molds for all 4 variants of the mask, which I will talk about in a second. I almost forgot that. But I just don't understand why the neck on the scarred version isn't jagged, because it's supposed to. And on the Halloween 2 versions, the scarring is there, the jaggedness in the neck is there, and the scars here go all the way down. On here, they're almost there. They just got a couple inches to go. That's it. But they stop shy of the mark. And the Fun World version doesn't. Yeah, it goes all the way down, has a nice jagged neck. In fact, the rotting effect even goes to the little slit here in the back. And yes, we will talk about these disgusting bald spots in a second. But as I said, Trick or Treat Studios offers a variety of masks from the 2 films. You have the clean Myers mask, which I think is referred to as the 92 Massacre mask. And it's the same thing with the knife. The 92 Massacre knife, which is 10 inches shorter than this guy. It comes in at a total of 12 inches. And this is a total of 17 inches. I don't remember the knife being this gigantic, but then again, it was in the hands of Tyler Mane, who is 6'8". So giant guy holds giant knife, looks regular sized. Yeah, so they offer the plain mask, the scarred version, and then of Halloween 2, you have the dream sequence mask, which is the hospital sequence at the very start. I've seen that in person, and I won't lie, I almost bought that before I bought this, but as I said, this was a nostalgic buy. I wanted to get this first. But boy howdy, let me tell you something, if I was talking about that hospital mask, that would be a glowing review. I loved the paint job on that thing. I loved the way that the mask was all cut up and scarred, and just the overall presentation was really, really clean for being disgusting. And then you have the standard Halloween 2 mask, which has this entire section of the face ripped right off. And yeah, it's interesting. And what I love a lot about those Halloween 2 masks is that they ace the really disgusting yellow tinge that those masks are supposed to have. And it kind of feels like that's what Trick or Treat was going with this one. And it just doesn't make sense because I've seen other variants of this mask that have the sort of correct grayish off-white color, and then I've seen others that have this paint job. So I guess it all depends on where you pick it up from. As with anything, you know, you got your Party City variants, which range from being a completely ass to, hey, this is pretty decent. Like my Halloween Ends mask is one of those that's just like, wow, this is really great for being a stock paint job. And I noticed that when I went to Party City to go look for this mask, all of the Halloween Ends ones they had were really good looking pulls and paint jobs. So great job, Trick or Treat, on that. The base paint job, I think is fine. It's the scarring that bothers me on this mask, and the fact that there's a lot of overspill, and not in a good way. Like, the overspill on this mask works weirdly because it kind of feels like it's just the rot starting to grow to other parts of the mask. On this, it just feels like they were too quick on the assembly line, and so they missed the spots they were supposed to hit. Which makes me sad because the detail that is on this mask is very incredible. Trick or Treat's very good at those kind of things, like little details, and they said that they were using the film molds to create these masks. And if that's true, then it just makes me sad that the paint job on this isn't highlighting the very incredible details that the screen mold has. Something I've noticed about this mask, and it's kind of bothering me, is the length of the hair. I feel it's just a hair too short. I seem to recall the Myers mask in Rob Zombie's Halloween being fairly medium length, almost long at parts. And I think this mask would just sing a little bit more if the paint job complemented it. If it was a little closer to the actual paint job, I think then it would just be a perfect mask. And then we have the really crappy profiles of the Fun World mask, because where this was, if memory serves, a live cast of Tyler Mane, this is a live cast of a guy named Steve. I will say, though, kudos to Fun World for getting the very angry expression of the furrowed brow here, as it is on the actual mask. But I will say, of the three Fun World masks that you could buy back in the day, there was the clean version, which looked just awful, just hot garbage. You have the scarred variant, which is right here, and then you had the Halloween 2 Dream Sequence mask, which I never actually saw that in person. I've only ever seen product photos, but boy, oh boy, does it not look good. But yeah, this is the lesser of two craps, or three craps. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not wholly bad. The hair, as I touch it, I hate this hair. And this is something I've been wanting to talk about a lot when it comes to Michael Myers masks. I love the mohair that Trick or Treat uses. It's very soft, very pliable. Also, big applause must be given to Trick or Treat Studios in the fact that they have finally learned to glue the hair down and then do another layer of glue, pat down the hair, and then slick it back. So we don't have that stupid, ugly glue line on just the entire forehead and temples of the masks like we've been dealing with since the start of Trick or Treat doing Myers masks. I noticed they started doing this with the Halloween Ends masks, and I just kind of hope that in the future, as they continue to release masks, they do this some more. They do the correct way of gluing down hair, because it makes me happy, and it makes the mask look cleaner because of it. Unlike, you know, the nastiness of the very clear glue line on the Fun World. And I, again, just hate this hair. Whether it was on this mask or on the Dawn Post masks that you could get at every Party City and every crappy Halloween store, this hair has been an abomination, a plight on mankind, because whether you could never get it out of its stupid dreadlock mode, because it bunched up and it made dreadlocks, whether you were dealing with that or whether you were dealing with the gigantic bald spots, because they would just do 3 layers. They would do top layer, middle layer, bottom layer, and then they just very, very shittily just, oh, that's good enough. And so you have a Michael Myers who has a giant gym teacher bald spot. And yes, Trick or Treat Studios at times has the same problem with bald spots. You can see a little bit right here, there's a bald spot. But what's nice about the mohair is that you can comb it in a way to hide them so they are not easily visible. But it's not as bad as this gross crap here. Now, I said that I don't have a styrofoam head that fits this guy. And that's because the fit of this stupid mask is so incredibly small. They were made for kids and adults, so it should fit kids and adults. You know what? I'm just gonna show you. Look, paper towel roll. That's a wonderful way to display your masks if you don't want to use a styrofoam head. I'm gonna hate myself for this. I hate it so much. Oh, well, yeah, look at that. There's already a rip. Oh, yay. Who cares? All right, here we go. See y'all on the other side. The uncomfortability of this mask is ridiculous. It's very tight. And, you know, I'm suffocating. I'm suffocating because the nose holes are smaller than the ear holes. The ear holes on this are gigantic. And I've noticed they're lopsided. Oh, my lord. Oh, wow. Oh, I forgot how much I hate putting on this mask. Oh, boy. But yeah, it's small, and I'm sure that you could barely hear me at all as I was wearing it. But yeah, the fit on this is really tight. Yeah, this is for display purposes only on a really crappy dummy. The Trick or Treat Studios mask is very big. And I think it's about the same fit size as the Halloween Ends mask. Just a second. Much better. And you can actually hear me as I talk in this thing. Look at that. This fits very nicely. It's very clear the superior mask of the two is this guy right here. Does he need some work to be better? Absolutely. Can you keep him in a stock paint job? Absolutely. I'm sure that there are a lot of people who look at the stock paint job of this and go, I don't know what you're talking about. I think that looks fantastic. And there are other people who are like, yeah, no, get it rehauled. It needs to be rehauled. But yeah, it's Trick or Treat Studios. They have hit or miss sometimes with their masks. I think this is somewhere in the middle. It's not a home run. It's at least gets you to first base. So, yeah, on a scale from 1 to 10, I would say that this mask is a solid 6.5, as to where this is a good old-fashioned 2. Now, I also said that we were going to be talking about the knives, because this is the Fun World Myers knife. You can still find these. In fact, Fun World is now selling them as Ghostface knives, which I find absolutely hilarious because Ghostface, to my knowledge, has never used a butcher knife. The plastic is very soft, not too flimsy, but still good for cosplay and Halloween purposes. This is not its original paint job. I actually repainted this back in 2017 when I started redoing Myers cosplay. I wanted this to try and look like a 1978 knife. But yeah, so this is my paint job. I don't think I did a bad job. The paint underneath here is sort of the same color, but it has a whole bunch of fake blood on it and whatnot. I like the feel of this. It's nice and big, gives the appearance of a Myers knife. Looks good. And then there's this behemoth of a Myers knife. It's much stouter plastic, which I really like. Not as thin as the H4 and H1 knives, which I'm actually going to go grab the H1 knife because I'm curious about how the size comparison is. I think this is not going to be as big as the 78 knife, but I want to figure out. So give me 2 seconds. I will be right back. And one jump cut later, we have the Trick or Treat Studios H1 1978 knife in this wonderful chromed plastic. And I like that they've been doing this. You have this shiny metallic paint job, and then you have these chromed knives. And I noticed that the chrome knives only are seen with 1978, 1988, Halloween 4, and Halloween Kills. The other knives, like Halloween 2018 and the 2 zombie knives, are this nice metallic, dull finish. But comparing the size, oh, wow, look at that. It's off by an inch, just an inch away from being as gigantic as the original 78 knife. Dang. That is actually really impressive. Another thing about this new plastic that they're using that I really like is that it feels a little bit more stout and most likely will not warp as their other plastics that they used to use have done. I love my 78 knife. It's probably one of my favorites in the collection of Myers knives, but it breaks my heart that the plastic can warp very easily and it takes forever to try and get it back into proper shape. This is just their pretty standard fare, very nice, solid cosplay Halloween piece. You can be one of those really solid cosplayers and add blood, because that was always something that was wonderful about Zombies Myers, is that it always had, there's caked in blood, these knives. They also offer the huge, ridiculous Bowie knife from Halloween 2, though that has been sold out for a while, and that one is just caked in blood. So, yeah, I believe that brings us to the end of the video. I apologize if I rambled a lot. Many thoughts going through my brain to properly talk about this mask and its very ugly brother. Because again, you know, getting into Myers cosplay back in 2008, 2009 was a much different game to getting into it now and having all of these wonderful screen accurate toys at your disposal, when back in the day, this was as good as it got. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very excited to have made this and that we are just ever so closer to Halloween. And I just hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.